Santa Maria or something like that. You know, that lineage probably goes back to that-ish, I guess. So many years ago that, or even centuries, that no one knows any longer. But Dale, his last name, you know what, I meant to look up his surname to see. He has a last name and I'm wondering like if someone just made it up somewhere. So anyway, I won't say it, but it's missing an H. And it's like, that's weird. But anyway, I wondered though if, but Dale, sorry about that. The name Dale is actually Scottish and it means a valley. So, some people live by these linguistic rules. They may not want to live in a valley because in their brain they actually think it means your life is in a valley instead of a peak. Some people might actually think that. It sounds ridiculous, but if they're part of a system that reads things a certain way, then they might, you know, be like, I'm not going to live in Glendale, I'm not going to live in Allendale, because you'd be in a valley. I think that's interesting because I have a step-family and their dad lived in Allendale apartments, which were there first, and then a credit card bank came in. Guess what they named the first building headquarters of the credit card bank? The Cole House. Stop it. Shut up. And mostly Irish. A lot of people on the senior operating committee were Irish. A lot of people came from Georgetown, Annapolis, Maryland. It was really a Maryland, it branched off of Maryland Bank of North America. And it was a credit card company in Delaware, kind of served credit card companies. A lot of headquarters were in Delaware because of laws circulating around, interest rates and stuff like that back in the day. So this guy, who's the dad of set family members, he actually lived in a basement apartment, or the nice term would be a garden apartment. Old school apartments where they're like brick and it's like a row, like you walk inside and they have, you know, 4 apartments in the basement, 4 up on the first floor, you know what I mean? And there are 4 doors on each floor per se. What's going on here? Are they changing it or? Anyway, it's quite warm out here. So, point being, oddly, he was living he passed away in the 90s, sadly. I didn't know him that well. It's just the way that visits were handled and this, that, and the other. And like maybe a handful of times did we ever cross paths with him. So maybe a couple times he dropped something off to the house where my dad and stepfamily lived, and I happened to be there. And once we went over there, I'm not sure if he was away and they were taking care of something in his apartment. I just remember he had a lot of VHS tapes and stuff like that. Back in the day, everybody watched movies on VHS tapes, and he was a movie watcher, I guess. Speaking of, there used to be a movie store over here. I don't see it, so I'm wondering what happened. Was it over here? 252? 252 always comes up as like, my social security number has 252 somewhere in there in a row. And anyway, that used to be a movie store in the Gayborhood, so you had, you know, a lot of adult movies in there. The Gayborhood just is that way, so just leave it. They had all kinds of movies, but you know, it's in sort of next to a bar, so anyway. So they might have had a lot of CD films available for people who are partying or what have you. The person who owned the store was a good friend of someone who I've taken care of pets for, cats and dogs, who lives, you know, up here. I know her from ages ago because her old partner used to be a personal trainer in the 12th Street gym, The 12th Street Gym used to be where this high rise is now. And the 12th Street Gym was more like a regular building. It was kind of cool. It was a very citified gym. You know, it was like a couple houses turned into a gym. So you go to the yoga studio over here. You go to the elliptical machine room over there. You know, you could put your CDs in a CD wall and click on the clicker on your machine to listen to different songs. Like, I want to listen to channel number 6 that somebody brought in MacArthur's Park. Someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it, 'cause it took so long to make it, and I'll never have that recipe again. Okay, so they even brought in a memorial to the Gayborhood that's new. This sculpture here is new, and I see it as very rainbow-esque. So everybody wanted that song because it helps you run faster on the treadmill. Someone left the cake out. And it's Diana Ross, right? We have two people, or Summer. I get two people mixed up every single time. It bothers me that I can't remember who's who. I'm wondering if she's on the last tour. Is it Summer or Diana Ross? I'll look it up later. But there's two people who sang that song. Or I'm sorry, there's one person who sang that song. There's two people who looked very similar during that time period. It was like a disco-ish, very disco-oriented time period. Someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it, 'cause it took so long to make it. Are we going straight? So anyway, good times back then. And the person who owned the shop with the movie tapes, with the movie rentals, whatever you call it these days, can you believe that that's a bygone era? Like, dinosaur shops are out there somewhere for people who are still into the vintage, like post-vintage era, the digital era. And I'll have to look her up because they were really good friends. I believe Tammy, who's the mainstay in the community here, would take her dog over there and have, what's her name, watch the dog. I don't know, I forget her name. I know she ran for political office in Sharon Hill. I was like, Sharon Hill, my name is Sharon. Do these people follow the name system? Turn around, go this way instead. We're trying to figure out which way to go. So we'll go this way instead. I was gonna try to get the lights on Market, trying to figure out which way is the best way. Nightmare Before Tinsel. It used to be just tinsel. That's a Japanese sun, the red and white. That's a Japanese flag type thing. And I was just talking about nightmares in the beginning of one of my videos this morning, because I keep having nightmares and it's freaking me out. I'm having to turn on the lights and everything, because it's the kind where you wake up and you're like incredibly scared. And when you luckily I live in an apartment where you can see everything for the most part. So it's not like, oh my God, I have to check downstairs, I have to check here. I'm wondering how my mom did this as a single mom with two girls. Like, if something scary would happen, how did she handle? Back then, less things probably happened except for the horn and